So here you have all the activity going on inside the courtroom with the death penalty sentencing of Dzhokhar Tsarnaev. Remember, he's one of the two brothers who committed the Boston bombing attack more than 2 years ago. The other brother, his older brother, he actually ran him over in a car as they were trying to make their getaway and trying to evade police. As you can see now, video from the scene back on April 15th, 2013. Of course, the horrific day that we'll never forget. A domestic act of terrorism here in the homeland at the Boston Marathon, where young people, an 8-year-old little boy died. Many other people lost limbs and were forever injured in that horrible attack. And then after that, Tsarnaevs went on the run. One of them was eventually caught, and now he's going to death row. Molly Line has just made it to her live location outside of the courthouse in Boston. Molly, what did he say?
Yeah, let me take you through this step by step, Gretchen, from the top. He stepped up in front of the victims, a packed courtroom filled with people that have been long wanting to hear something from this defendant, anything, who expressed so little remorse over the course of his trial, so little emotion, not even glancing at people who testified. He began with the exalted name of Allah. So he talked a lot about his religion, about this being a particularly special month for Muslims, a month where they ask for forgiveness. They ask Allah for creation, talked about gratitude and patience. So he got into this very, very slowly. He said it's also a month in which hearts change, a month of blessings. He thanked a lot of the people that helped him. First off, he thanked his attorneys, and he said all of the people that helped to make the last 2 years very easy. He thanked those who testified on his behalf, their desire, despite the pressure, he said, to testify, that came here and testified on his behalf. And he also thanked the jury and the court as well. He quoted what seemingly sounded like scripture, saying, if you're not merciful to God's creation, and talked about the general idea of mercy under God. And then he said he now wished to apologize to the victims, the survivors. Immediately after the bombing, he said he felt the guilt. And he admitted that he did this and that he did this with his brother. He said, acknowledging and taking responsibility for all of this. He wanted to make that part clear as he went on. He said in the days following the bombing, he began to learn the names of the victims and to begin to learn their faces. And throughout the trial, he heard more names and more faces, and he heard their burdened souls. And he said to all those who got up on the stand and the podium, he listened to their suffering, to their hardship, and to their strength and to their dignity. He acknowledged that this was horrendous, and he said that he wished for more. He wished he could get up and take it from you. And he was sorry for the lives that were taken, and that he wished that 4 more people could have gotten up essentially and testified, was what he was trying to say. He said that the damage has been done and it's irreparable damage. He said, I am Muslim. He believes in Islam, that he worships no other God but Allah, and that he prayed for mercy for the deceased. And then he also prayed for the relief and healing and strength for people. It wasn't clear there if he was speaking about those there in the courtroom or those that had lost loved ones, but in general praying for relief and healing. He also asked Allah for mercy on himself, for his brother, and for all of those present there in the courtroom today, and he ended with praise be to Allah. So now, Gretchen, the question will be that we know where this is heading by the end of the day. The judge has the responsibility to sentence him to death as handed down by the jury. That is the end result of all of today. And then hopefully as the course goes on, we'll hear a little bit from the people that came here today to say their last words to Tsarnaev before he is ultimately sent away to prison to await his execution. Gretchen?
All right. So, Molly, thank you so much for the explanation and saying everything that he said in court. My question is why? First of all, why address the court now? He showed no remorse during this entire trial. You know, there was a lot of debate about whether or not he should get the death penalty. If he had shown some of that remorse and taken on some of the guilt and apologized to the victims back then, it could have been a different fate for him. So why now? It doesn't change anything.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, Gretchen, because just before Tsarnaev made his statement, there was a back and forth between the attorneys. Judy Clark, who's been one of the main attorneys on this case, representing Tsarnaev throughout the course of this trial, said that, in fact, he had previously tried to work out a deal with the government and that he had written a letter of apology. She also noted, however, that the government had the right to turn down that letter and the offer to avoid a trial. So she was saying essentially that we tried previously to make something happen happened and that the government had essentially denied that. And so now they were making this statement. I don't know if that sheds any light on it or why he may not, or perhaps it doesn't really shed much light on why he chose not to testify.
Well,
but of course, there could be some possible appeals coming down the road, and who knows how many on the road towards an eventual execution.
That's an important point about the appeals, because we all know what happens when people go to death row. They unfortunately don't meet their maker right away. I mean, this could go on 10 years, 12 years, whatever the case may be. But by the way, if there was that offer of a deal, I think we would have heard about it, maybe potentially in the media. And also, he never showed any remorse when he was listening to those horrific stories. I remember Martin, that little boy Martin, his father saying that he had to leave his boy because he knew he wasn't going to make it. And he had to leave his boy, pictured right here, to tend to his other child, who was also gravely injured. And Tsarnaev did not shed one tear when he was listening to that story. That makes him a monster in my mind.
There was incredible stoicism throughout the entire trial from Tsarnaev, from beginning to end. And it wasn't just in the moments where the most horrific testimony came, where parents were talking about the loss of their child. And during incredibly graphic images, such as autopsy photos that were shown to the jurors that had the jury in tears. A lot of the people that testified also expressed frustration with the fact that he wouldn't even look in their direction. I don't even know what to say about him standing up and actually saying something to all of those people. It came as a little bit of a surprise, and you don't know what to expect because he was so frozen throughout the course of the entire trial. And really there wasn't much emotion either in this statement. It was a very, flat, straightforward statement. He wasn't shaking.
Sounds to me
well-spoken, not stuttering throughout the course of his of speaking to that full courtroom.
Well, it sounds to me like maybe he was kind of surprised that he might have gotten the death penalty, and maybe now he is setting up some sort of an appeal process. I don't know. Who knows? Molly Line, fantastic job. If you would stick around for me.